Meg Altman, recently divorced, and her 11-year-old daughter Sarah have just moved into a charming 4-story brownstone on the Upper West Side of New York City. Sarah has diabetes, and the house is a perfect fit for their new life. Renovated in 1994, it offers all the modern amenities, along with a small yard and spacious living, a rarity in Manhattan. The lot measures 21 feet by 53 feet, allowing for a lovely garden. The house also features a working elevator. The previous owner, a reclusive millionaire named Sidney Pearlstein, had built a special room to protect the house's occupants from intruders. Sadly, Sidney passed away recently, and his children are fighting over control of his estate, struggling to find half of his fortune. This panic room is a fortified safe space, designed with concrete and steel on all sides, a thick steel door, and an advanced security system that includes surveillance cameras, a public address system, and a separate phone line. However, Meg has a fear of small spaces. The door has motion sensors at chest and ankle height, which means it won't close if anything blocks it. After considering the house, Meg decides to make an offer, and soon the mother and daughter settle into their new home. Meg spends the evening learning how to activate the security system. Meg orders Chinese and they have dinner together. After that, Meg arranges Sarah's bedroom and put her to bed. In her room, Meg checks the boxes, connects the phone line, and goes to sleep. That night, just after 1:30 a.m., their new home is broken into by 3 men. Junior, the grandson of the previous owner, Burnham, a security company employee, and Raul, a gunman hired by Junior. Junior has recruited Raul, who has experience in heists, to help him get his hands on $3 million in bearer bonds hidden in a floor safe in the panic room. Junior doesn't want to share the bonds with his family after his grandfather's death, especially since the estate is still tied up in probate. To their surprise, the Altmans have already moved in, and Junior convinces Burnham to go ahead with the robbery, even though Burnham thought the house was unoccupied. Junior insists that the escrow period was for 3 weeks, so the Altmans weren't supposed to move in for another week. Burnham notes that the security system is activated, meaning they've already been recorded on video. As they begin the heist, Meg wakes up and sees the intruders on the panic room's video monitors. Meg runs towards Sarah's room and wakes her up. They both run towards the panic room. Before the robbers can get to them, Meg and Sarah rush into the panic room and close the door, only to discover that the phone isn't working. Outside, the 3 robbers think of a way to get them out of the panic room. Inside the panic room, Meg thinks of a way to contact someone. Sarah asks Meg to use the intercom and ask them what they need. Meg switch on the intercom and ask the robbers. Their voice cannot reach Meg, so they write on the paper that what they need is in the panic room. They assure her that they will let them go. But Meg doesn't believe them. Outside, robbers seal shut all the doors so that none of the residents of the house could run away. Inside, Sarah looks for anything that could help them. Burnham then comes with an idea. Burnham, desperate to force them out, pumps propane gas into the room through the vents. Raul, in a dispute with Burnham and Junior, escalates the situation by adding more gas. With no way to seal the vents, Meg ignites the gas, creating a powerful explosion that vents into the room outside, setting a fire and injuring Junior. The Altmans try several ways to call for help, including signaling a neighbor with a flashlight through the ventilation pipe, but the neighbor ignores them. Meg eventually taps into the main phone line and calls her ex-husband, Stephen, explaining the situation just before the intruders cut the line. As their options dwindle, Junior reveals that there's actually more money in the safe than he initially let on and decides to abandon the robbery. However, Raul kills Junior, and Burnham, now under threat, is forced at gunpoint to finish the job. Stephen arrives at the house, only to be taken hostage and severely beaten by the robbers. To make matters worse, Sarah has a seizure, and her emergency glucagon syringe is in a refrigerator outside the panic room. Raul deceives Meg into thinking it's safe to leave the panic room temporarily, using an unconscious Stephen to lure her out. Once she steps out, Burnham rushes in and finds Sarah lying motionless. Meg retrieves the syringe for Sarah, struggles with Raul, and finally manages to push him into the panic room, knocking his gun out of his hand. She throws the syringe into the room and Burnham, acting with surprising kindness, locks himself, Raoul and Sarah inside. As Meg pleads with them over the intercom, Burnham, who seems reluctant to harm them, gives Sarah the injection and apologizes, revealing that his actions were driven by a desire to provide a better life for his own child. He reassures Meg that Sarah will be okay. A short time later, 2 police officers arrive at the house, responding to a 911 call from Stephen and complaints from the neighbors. Sensing danger to Sarah, Meg lies to the officers, convincing them to leave. Meanwhile, Burnham opens the safe and removes the $22 million in bearer bonds. Meanwhile, outside, Meg starts to break the cameras one by one. She gives the gun to her ex-husband and tells him to shoot if he sees any robber. As the robbers try to flee with Sarah as a hostage, Meg hits Raoul with a sledgehammer and Burnham runs off. Stephen, though badly injured, manages to shoot at Raoul but misses. Raoul disables him and prepares to kill Meg with the sledgehammer. However, Burnham, hearing Stephen's screams, returns to the house, shoots Raoul dead and tells Meg and her daughter, "You'll be okay now," before leaving. The police, alerted by Meg's suspicious behavior earlier, finally arrive and capture Burnham, who releases the bearer bonds into the wind. A few days later, Meg and Sarah, having survived the terrifying ordeal, are seen looking through the newspaper for a new, smaller home, ready to move on from their traumatic experience. We hope that you liked this video. Subscribe for more awesome recaps. See you in the next one.